Egypt's government confirms its security forces have killed 36 Muslim Brotherhood supporters that attempted to escape during a prison transfer. Officials claim the prisoners took an officer hostage but suffocated when police used tear gas. This as the death toll climbs to over 800 in less than a week of violent clashes between supporters of the ousted Islamist President Morsi and those backing the military that took over power. With chaos on the streets of Egypt, the EU now plans to review the aid it is providing the country, urging the army to restrain its use of force. Lawmakers in the U.S. have also called to cut military contracts. So far, Egypt has been receiving heavy weapons, jets, and surveillance equipment to the tune of $1.3 billion a year. Washington has also avoided calling the ousting of President Morsi a coup, which would mean they would have to end supplies. A profit U.S. companies can't afford to lose, according to political scientist and activist Sarah Marusik.
The U.S. government right now is very confused. They are listening to people. They are learning about the situation, but really their hands are tied. The aid has already been given, has already been promised for this year, and also the way that the aid works is very peculiar in my view. Basically, it's on a credit system so that the Egyptian army has already placed the orders for aid, actually likely for other years to come as well, because they place orders above and beyond whatever we allocate. So this means that if the United States government cancels the aid, then U.S. companies are the ones who aren't going to be paid. And of course, in our economy that's struggling, that is just not going to fly by the American people. The sad fact is most Americans are quite ignorant not only about what's going on in Egypt, but our role in it. So it's very unlikely that the U.S. government is going to reconsider its position on aid to Egypt. Perhaps there are other things that they could do, but right now it's looking very bleak.
The Muslim Brotherhood may end up listed as a terrorist organization under Egypt's new constitution, according to reports. The draft is expected to be announced on Wednesday and may also include a ban on all religious political parties. As RT's Paula Sleer now reports, the violence in the country has left some families scarred for life.
The tears are the same, as is the heartache and tragedy. Two families forever changed by the violence engulfing Egypt.
He died from 2 bullets. One was in his heart. The police killed him. They were standing on top of the roofs. They burned some of the bodies and they burned some people alive.
The Muslim Brotherhood believes that the Christians in Egypt have a hand in what is going on. They started to beat me with wood and stones. One of them hit me with an axe on my head. They put the church on fire and threw Molotov cocktails at it.
Sophia's son Abdul belonged to the Muslim Brotherhood. He was just 23 when he was killed by police on Wednesday. Ayman is a Christian. He was protecting a monastery when he says Muslim Brotherhood looters stormed it, bashing him on the head with heavy sticks. They're on opposite sides of the political divide, but both families will forever carry the scars of this week's deadly violence. The violence started on Wednesday when police moved in to break up protest camps set up by supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi. Hundreds were killed. Dozens more died 2 days later when security forces laid siege to a mosque where protesters had taken refuge. By Sunday morning, they'd cleared it. But the confusion remains. The government has announced it plans to outlaw the Brotherhood. It's arrested and detained hundreds of its leaders and supporters. Among them, Rami's brother Hassan, whom he hasn't heard from for days.
I'm feeling worried. I called him yesterday. It was the last call between me and him, and he was in the hospital, National Security Hospital, and he told me that he's alone and he's worried that the police will take him. The army plan to do this, plan to kill these people.
But the same charge is leveled at the Brotherhood. Critics say that they, as much as the police, planned to kill. This is one of the churches that was destroyed this week. More than 50 churches were burnt and looted around the country. What was valuable was taken. What remains? Fear and uncertainty for Egypt's future. Bashir Maher shows me around what remains of his church. He's placing his faith firmly in the police.
I feel that arresting and pursuing Brotherhood leaders and starting an investigation and prosecution is a good sign. In the street, the Muslim Brotherhood is starting to have major losses. Announcing a state of emergency allows the police to have a chance.
But a chance at what, many are asking, as each hour brings with it more violence and uncertainty to a country seemingly on the path to civil war. Paul Eslia, RT, Fayum City, Egypt.